I want you guys to take a look. We got two Chromebooks here. One is the Samsung Chromebook 2. The other Chromebook is the Hisense Chromebook. Can you tell the difference? Now I put some tape over the names, but can you guys tell the difference? Which is the Hisense Chromebook and which is the Samsung Chromebook 2? Take a second, try to figure it out. Now, I kind of switch places between the two. Try to give you an idea which one is which. Alright, so let's kill that suspense. And this is it right here. Samsung Chromebook 2 versus the Hisense. You couldn't tell the difference. Now, these two Chromebooks are more of a budget Chromebook, but the Samsung Chromebook is retailed at about $300 and is staying steady about that price, especially this black version. Now, I like both Chromebooks. The Samsung Chromebook 2, I actually fell for. I liked it. I know it has the Exynos processor. I also bought the 13.3-inch one. And so far, this standard text of time, I borrowed it from my friend. This is his own. And it's to the test of time. He don't have no complaints. He actually loves Chrome. And it's a nice looking Chromebook. The Hisense now is also a nice looking Chromebook because pretty much the Hisense has took a lot of the styling cues from, I guess, the Samsung Chromebook 2. They both are good looking Chromebooks. But which one is the better one? That's the question. Alright, so let's get into it. Now, I've used the Samsung Chromebook 2 for a while, and I've used the Hisense. I've used them both to edit videos, and I've used them both pretty much. And I got my own opinions about both. So, to go straight into it, let's go with this screen. I'm going to go with the screen. It's almost a wash. Which screen looks better? I did the same trick, and no one can tell the difference between which screen they particularly feel is better. I feel the Hisense Chromebook screen is a little bit brighter. The viewing angles on this Hisense, I find these viewing angles a little better than the Samsung. Now, the viewing angle on the Samsung is not bad, but I find the viewing angles on the Hisense to be a tad bit better. So, pretty much to sum it up about the screen, straight up, I give it to the Hisense. For some reason, the Hisense screen seems to be better. Okay, all around look and grip of the devices. The Hisense is going with a plastic. You can hear the feel. It's a grippy feel top and bottom. So this is not a Chromebook that's slippery in the hand. Neither the Samsung Chromebook 2. This is a leather feel, a rubbery feel. Now, it almost, I guess after the long term of having it, this doesn't feel as, it doesn't feel like leather, like when you first opened it. It feels a little bit like rubbery plastic. That's what it feels like now. So it's lost a little bit of its luster. Now the bottom of it is real smooth. Real smooth. So you got the grip at the top, but you don't have it at the bottom. So grip and feel, I gotta give it to the Hisense. But all around, the leather is not feeling like leather. So they both look good on appearance, but I gotta give it to the Hisense because of the better grip. Now, when it comes to the ports, they both are the same ports on same devices. I even need to go through the ports. They have the same ports, USB 2s, HDMI. The ports are the same. Now, when you open it up and the track, the feel of the keyboard is pretty much the same. So I'll say both keyboards are a wash. The part that I had a problem is the Samsung Trackpad. When you're doing certain movements and double click and you want to slide, everywhere you slide this cursor, you slide this around, it feels like your hand is moist. It's not as smooth. It's actually better. The trackpad is better on the Hisense. Trust me, it's all about feel. When you're sliding around, you're doing things, you're making more mistakes with this trackpad. For some reason, this trackpad, it's a little bit rougher on feel, but it's better. This is a little bit too sticky. I think that's the point. I cleaned it. It's smooth, but it's sticky. It has that feeling like it's sticky. So, keyboard is a wash, trackpad, Hisense. They look virtually the same. I like the what they both did with having this ring, this shiny chrome looking ring around the trackpad. They both have that same design, and it looks good and it gives a premium look. So build quality and on both of them with the looks, I give it to both of them. They're good looking devices, but I gotta give it to the Hisense because the trackpad is better. Now, overall speed and usability, they feel the same. Now, I felt a lot of the flaws, the slowdowns, maybe the RAM issue, because this only has 2 gigs of RAM with this rock chip. Sorry. My apologies. The ARM A Cortex processor. It's a quad-core processor. It's an ARM processor. Now, with the processors, both the Samsung is a Exynos processor. So they're both an ARM processor, basically. But the Samsung got 4 gigs of RAM, and the Hisense has 2 gigs of RAM. So because of the RAM, I gotta give it to the Samsung. It's just a little bit more smoother. And if you guys looking at the 2 screens, you can see there's a difference. But when it comes to editing, was better on this because of the trackpad than on the Samsung. But I felt the hesitations. There was hesitation with the editing that I was doing. So I would go with the Hisense with this. With what I was doing, I would use the Hisense because of the trackpad. The trackpad is really nice. $150 Chromebook, but the performance, overall performance, is better on the Samsung. So, screen, playing video. Let me play you guys some sample video. Alright, so the Hisense, they was on different Wi-Fi, but the Hisense, there still is, you know, I'm gonna have to recheck that because I'm not sure. Alright, I'm gonna refresh both at the same time. Okay, it's exactly what I thought. It's exactly what I thought. Under the same Wi-Fi, they're pretty much the same. The processors are pretty much the same, but again, I'll give it to the Exynos because it has extra RAM. Now, when it comes to screens, you can pretty much tell the difference. What I said is very much on point. I feel the Hisense is better. Now, let's see here. 720p. They're both going under 720p. Let me just go one step ahead. 1080. Alright, so pretty much when it comes to the screen, you guys can call it a wash or you guys can call it what you see it. I feel, my personal opinion, I'm in front of both devices, I feel the Hisense screen a little bit brighter, a little bit better. Now, battery life on both devices, screen on almost high, almost all the way. So far with the Hisense, I don't think it can go the 8 hours, 8.5 hours that it says. The Samsung as well. They can go 8 hours if you keep the brightness on low. Don't get me wrong, they can go 8 hours. But normal use, the way you have to have the brightness up to really enjoy, you're actually going to have to, with the battery life, you're actually going to have to suffer with about 6 hours. Realistically, with 6 hours, both of them. I asked my friend how he felt about battery life, and he says battery life is good. He never really timed it. But from playing with both of them, under high brightness, I don't think you, and watching videos and so forth, I don't think you can go 8.5 hours. But definitely under normal use, just looking at web pages, brightness at a reasonable level, yeah, you can get the 8 hours. So between these two devices, I definitely got to give it to Hisense. Walmart did a good job with this Chromebook. Now, with the Samsung, you know, I'm kind of disappointed because of the price. You know, with me, it's all about price. $300, this ain't worth $300 when you have a $150 Chromebook doing the job. If this had 4 gigs of RAM, maybe $25 more, this will be the bomb and a half. If they come out with this Walmart Hisense Chromebook with 4 gigs of RAM, I would say buy it all day. I would say buy one for yourself. Buy one with anyone. This is the Chromebook you use with abandonment. You don't care if you mess it up. You don't care if you drop it. You don't care who hands you put it into. But with the Samsung, $300, you're going to care a little bit more because of what you paid. So this is the throwaway Chromebook. This is the one you throw around. This is the one you lend out. This is the one you have anyone use. This is the one you leave in the car. This is not the one that you really don't care about this one. But this one you're going to care more because you paid more. When you pay attention. And you're going to pay more attention to the Samsung simply because you paid more. So the decision. What is the decision to make? And really, if you push both of them with a lot of video, with the screen on real bright, the battery life ain't going to be there like it says. So I give it to Hisense. If I had to pick between these two Chromebooks, which one to get, and to get this one at its current price point, I will get the Hisense all day long. Because it's not going to be my main Chromebook anyway. It's the backup. But the 4 gigs of RAM is a plus on the Samsung. So that is the only reason why a person would buy this Samsung over this Hisense, is because of the 4 gigs of RAM. Nothing else is impressive over this Hisense to say, I want the Samsung. Unless you're in the coffee shop and you're worried about which name shows up on the device. But I will buy the Hisense all day. This versus video, I got to give it to the Hisense. Why? Because it's overall better. The speakers are virtually a wash, but I listened to both of them thoroughly yesterday, and the speaker on the Samsung is a little better quality, a little bit better, but it took me a long time to really make that decision. So you can even say the speakers are a wash. Now, they both, the webcams, it's a wash. They're not the best webcam. Now, granted, I have to go back for a second. Granted they're both webcams are not that impressive, but you got a better webcam with the Samsung. It's actually 720 HD. So with the webcam, I gotta give it to Samsung. It's a step above the Hisense. So the speaker and the webcam is why you would pick the Samsung and pay double the price, because this is still going for $3 bills. This one's $150. I'll go with the Hisense. Can't say it anymore. Wal-mart, Hisense, you did a good job. You did a good job. So with that, guys, this is the comparison between the Hisense Chromebook that just came out, $150, and the Samsung Chromebook 2, which is a good Chromebook. A good Chromebook. But this Hisense has creeped up right behind it, and to me, stolen the show.